Hello, my friend. I'm really glad you're here with me today. Take a slow breath in and a slow breath out. Today, I want to talk about something that sounds simple but feels heavy. 3 small words. I love you. Why is saying I love you so hard? Maybe you've asked yourself that question before. Maybe the words were in your heart, but they stopped somewhere in your throat. Maybe you typed them in a message and then deleted them. Maybe you stood in front of your mother, your father, your partner, your child, and you felt something warm inside you, but you couldn't say it. If that has ever happened to you, you are not strange. You are human. I want to tell you a story. A few years ago, I was standing in my parents' kitchen. It was evening. The light was soft and yellow. My mother was washing dishes. My father was sitting at the table, reading something on his phone. It was an ordinary day, nothing special. And suddenly, I felt this strong wave of gratitude. I looked at my mother's hands. They were a little tired, a little older than I remembered. I thought about all the meals she had cooked for me, all the mornings she had woken up early, all the quiet sacrifices she had made without asking for attention. I wanted to say it. I wanted to say, "Mom, I love you." The words were right there, but I didn't say them. Instead, I said, "Do you need help with the dishes?" She smiled and said, "No, it's okay." And that was it. The moment passed. Later that night, I lay in bed thinking, why didn't I just say it? Why was it easier to offer help than to offer love? Maybe you understand that feeling. Sometimes it feels easier to do something than to say something, to show love through actions, but not through words. In English, we often say, actions speak louder than words. Repeat that softly with me. Actions speak louder than words. It means what we do can express more than what we say. And that is beautiful. It's true in many cultures. Maybe in your culture, people don't say I love you very often. Maybe love is shown through food, through work, through responsibility, through sacrifice. But still, sometimes, there is something powerful about saying the words. I love you. Try saying it slowly. I love you. Notice how your mouth moves. Notice how your voice feels. Does it feel natural? Or does it feel uncomfortable? Sometimes saying I love you feels vulnerable. Vulnerable is a very important word. Vulnerable means open, exposed, not protected. When you are vulnerable, you show your true feelings. You take a small emotional risk. Repeat after me. Vulnerable. When we say I love you, we are not just sharing love. We are also giving the other person power. Power to respond. Power to stay silent, power to say it back, or not say it back. And that can be scary. I remember the first time I wanted to say I love you to someone I was dating. We were walking in a park. It was late afternoon. The sky was soft and orange. We had been seeing each other for a few months. I felt close to her, comfortable, warm. The words were inside me for days. I almost said them many times. But each time, I stopped. What if she doesn't feel the same? What if it's too soon? What if I ruin this? Those what if questions can be very loud in our minds. What if? What if? What if? Finally, one day I said it. It came out quietly. I think, I love you. Did you notice that I didn't just say, I love you? I said, I think I love you. Sometimes we add extra words because we are afraid. I think, maybe, I guess. These small phrases make the sentence feel safer, less direct, less risky. Language is interesting, isn't it? We use words not only to express feelings, but also to protect ourselves. When you say, I think I love you, you are opening the door, but not fully. You are testing the water. And that's okay. She looked at me for a moment. Then she smiled, and she said, I love you too. I still remember how my body felt in that moment. Light, relieved, warm. But here is something important. Even if she had not said it back, the words would still have mattered. Because sometimes saying I love you is not about getting something in return. It's about being honest with yourself. Maybe you felt this in your family. Maybe you love your father deeply, but you've never said it. Maybe he has never said it either. Instead, he works long hours. He pays the bills. He fixes things in the house. He asks, have you eaten instead of I love you? In many families, have you eaten means I care about you. Try saying that question slowly. Have you eaten? It's simple, but it carries warmth. Language is full of hidden love. Sometimes we just need to learn how to hear it. But still, I believe there is something healing about saying the words clearly. I love you. Not as a dramatic moment, not as a big event, but as a quiet truth. I remember one night I called my father. It was a normal phone call. We talked about work, about the weather, about small things. Before hanging up, I felt that same pressure in my chest. Say it. Just say it. So I did. Dad, I love you. There was silence on the phone for 2 seconds. 2 seconds can feel very long. Then he said a little awkwardly, yeah, me too. Not I love you too. Just me too. And I smiled, because I knew what he meant. Sometimes love doesn't come in perfect grammar. It comes in simple words. Me too. Try repeating that. Me too. Short, soft, real. Maybe in your life, there is someone you want to say these words to, but something is stopping you. Let's explore that gently. Sometimes we don't say I love you because we grew up in a home where feelings were not spoken. Maybe emotions were private. Maybe silence was normal. When you grow up in that environment, saying I love you can feel unnatural, almost like speaking a foreign language. And in a way, it is. If you have never practiced it, it feels new, uncomfortable. But remember something important. You are learning English right now. You are practicing new sounds, new sentences, new expressions. At first, it feels strange, but with repetition, it becomes natural. Emotional language is the same. If you never say I love you, it will always feel difficult. But if you practice slowly, gently, it can become part of you. Let's practice together. I love you. Say it softly. I love you. Now imagine you are saying it to someone specific. Picture their face. Say it again. I love you. Notice your breathing. Notice your heart. This is not just English practice. This is emotional practice. Sometimes we don't say I love you because we are afraid of rejection. Rejection is when someone does not accept your feelings. That fear is very human. But here is something I've learned. Love is not a transaction. It's not a business deal. You don't say I love you only if you are sure the other person will say it back. You say it because it is true for you. And truth has value, even if it feels risky. Sometimes we also avoid saying I love you because we think the other person already knows. They know I love them. Maybe that's true, but hearing it can still matter. Words create clarity. Words create memory. I once met a student who told me something that stayed in my mind. She said, "My father passed away last year. He loved me. I know he did, but he never said it. And now, I wish I had heard it just once." That sentence broke my heart. Not because there was no love, but because there were no words. Sometimes we think we have time. We think, I'll say it later. But life is not always predictable. That doesn't mean you need to feel pressure. It just means if the love is there, maybe let it move through you. Maybe let it be spoken. In English, we also use different versions of love. I care about you. I appreciate you. You mean a lot to me. These are softer ways to express affection. Repeat with me. You mean a lot to me. That phrase is beautiful. It doesn't feel as intense as I love you, but it carries depth. Maybe for you, starting with I appreciate you feels easier. I appreciate you. Say it slowly. I appreciate you. Appreciate means to recognize value, to see someone's effort, to feel grateful. Sometimes love begins with appreciation. I want to share one more small story. There was a time when I was going through a difficult period. I felt tired, uncertain, a little lost. I was trying to be strong, trying to solve everything alone. One evening, a friend sent me a message. It was simple. "Hey, I just want you to know I care about you, and I'm here." That was all. But I read it 3 times. I care about you. Those words felt like a hand on my shoulder. Sometimes we underestimate the power of simple language. You don't need poetry. You don't need perfect grammar. You just need sincerity. Sincerity means honesty without pretending. Repeat after me. Sincerity. When you speak English, don't only focus on accuracy. Focus on sincerity. The same is true in relationships. Don't wait for the perfect moment. Don't wait for the perfect sentence. Speak from where you are. Maybe you're not ready to say I love you. That's okay. Maybe today you can say, I'm grateful for you. Maybe you can say, thank you for being in my life. Maybe you can say, I'm glad you're here. These are bridges, small bridges that connect hearts. And every time you practice emotional language in English, you are building 2 things at once: your fluency and your courage. Sometimes, I think the real reason saying I love you is hard is because love makes us soft. And in a world that tells us to be strong, independent, successful, being soft can feel dangerous. But softness is not weakness. Softness is openness. It is the ability to feel deeply. And when you say I love you, you are choosing softness. You are choosing connection over protection. Maybe you've felt strong for a long time. Maybe you are the responsible one in your family, the independent one, the one who doesn't cry, the one who solves problems. But even strong people need to hear love. Even strong people need to say love. As you listen to my voice right now, I want you to think of one person. Just one. It could be a parent, a friend, a partner, a sibling, a child. What would happen if you said it? What would change? Maybe nothing dramatic. Maybe just a small smile. But sometimes small moments become big memories. Language is not only for business meetings or exams. It is for life. When you say, I love you, you are not just practicing 3 words. You are practicing vulnerability. You are practicing truth. You are practicing being fully human. And that is the deepest kind of fluency. I want to leave you with something gentle. If saying I love you feels too hard right now, don't judge yourself. Just notice it. Notice the resistance. Notice the fear. And ask yourself, what am I protecting? Sometimes we protect ourselves from possible pain, but we also block possible warmth. You don't have to change everything today. Just take one small step. Maybe send a short message. Maybe say it at the end of a call. Maybe whisper it quietly. And if you're not ready to say it to someone else, say it to yourself. I love you. Look in the mirror. Or close your eyes and say it. I love you. In English. Feel how that sounds. Because you deserve to hear it too. Sometimes when I suggest saying I love you to yourself, people smile a little. It feels strange, maybe even unnecessary. You might think, I already know I love myself. Why do I need to say it? But knowing something and hearing it are not always the same. There is a quiet difference between thinking and speaking. When a thought stays in your mind, it is private, safe, controlled. But when you speak it out loud, even if you are alone, it becomes real in a different way. It has sound. It has shape. It enters the air. Try this with me now, even if you whisper, I love you. Notice if your voice becomes softer. Notice if you hesitate before the word love. Notice if your tone changes at the end. Sometimes the difficulty is not the other person. Sometimes it is our relationship with love itself. Maybe you grew up hearing criticism more often than affection. Maybe praise was rare. Maybe good job was more common than I love you. Or maybe even praise was rare. When affection is not part of your daily language, your emotional vocabulary becomes limited. Vocabulary is not only about nouns and verbs. It is about feelings. It is about expression. If you only practice describing tasks, I finished my work, I cleaned the house, I studied today, then emotional sentences can feel advanced, like a higher level. But emotional English does not belong to advanced learners. It belongs to brave learners. Let me tell you about a moment that changed something small but important in me. I was teaching a class once, and at the end of the lesson, one student stayed behind. She looked nervous. She said, Thomas, can I ask you something personal? I said, of course. She hesitated. Then she asked, "How do I tell my mother I love her?" In English. I smiled gently. "You just say it." I said, "I love you, Mom." She nodded, but she didn't look satisfied. She said, "But it feels too big. In my language, we don't say it often. It feels dramatic." That word stayed with me. Dramatic. Sometimes we think love must be dramatic, like in movies, like in songs, like in big emotional scenes. Maybe you've watched romantic films from United States where people stand in the rain and shout, "I love you," or you've heard songs by artists like Adele, where love sounds intense and powerful and overwhelming. But real love is often quiet. It's in the way someone remembers how you take your tea. It's in a short message that says, "Did you get home safely?" It's in the way your father checks the door at night before you sleep. Love does not need to be loud to be real. So I told my student, you don't have to say it in a dramatic way. You can say it in a calm way. You can say it like you're telling the truth, not performing. She asked me to say it naturally, the way I would say it to my own mother. So I looked at her and said softly, "Love you, Mom." Did you notice that I didn't even say the full sentence? Not "I love you, Mom." Just "love you, Mom." In everyday English, we often drop the I. We make it lighter, more natural, less intense. Love you. Try saying that. Love you. It feels different, doesn't it? Shorter, easier, almost like it's already part of the air. You can also say, "I love you" in a warm, ordinary tone, not serious, not dramatic, just steady. Sometimes the tone matters more than the grammar. There is another reason saying "I love you" can feel hard. Pride. Pride is when we want to protect our image, our strength, our control. If you had an argument with someone, maybe you feel love, but you don't want to say it first. You want them to apologize. You want them to come closer. We think, if I say "I love you" first, I lose. But love is not a competition. In fact, saying "I love you" during a difficult time can be the strongest thing you do. I remember once having a disagreement with someone very close to me. We were both quiet, both stubborn. Hours passed. Then a message appeared on my phone. "I'm still upset, but I love you." That sentence was powerful. "I'm still upset" that was honest. "But I love you" that was grounding. It showed that love can exist at the same time as frustration. Try repeating that structure. "I'm still upset, but I love you." This is real English, emotional English, the kind you use in real life, not in textbooks. Love is not always clean and perfect. It exists with anger, with confusion, with fear. And maybe that's why saying it feels complicated. Because when you say "I love you," you are not promising perfection. You are promising presence. Presence means being there, staying, choosing connection. There is also something else we don't talk about often. Sometimes we are afraid that if we say "I love you" and the other person does not say it back, we will feel small. Small is a feeling of rejection, of not being chosen. But let me ask you something gently. If you feel love inside you, is it smaller because someone else doesn't return it? Or is it still something valuable because it lives in you? Your ability to love is part of your character. It is not dependent on someone else's response. When you say I love you, you are expressing who you are. And that is never small. In English, there is a phrase, I have a soft spot for you. Repeat that. I have a soft spot for you. It means you feel special affection for someone. It's not as strong as I love you, but it carries warmth. Maybe you can use this phrase with a friend, or even jokingly. Language gives us options, different levels, different shades of meaning. You don't have to jump from silence to intensity. You can move step by step. I like you. I care about you. I have a soft spot for you. I love you. Each sentence is a different level of vulnerability. Think about your own life. Where are you on that scale with the people around you? Maybe there is someone who says, I love you easily. They say it at the end of every call, every message, every meeting. At first, you might feel uncomfortable. But over time, you might notice something. Their repetition makes it normal. Repetition creates safety. The same is true for language learning. When you repeat phrases again and again, they become part of you. So if saying I love you feels unnatural now, maybe it just needs repetition. Not forced, not artificial, just practiced. You can practice with small moments. When someone does something kind, you can say, that means a lot to me. Repeat that. That means a lot to me. It is honest. It shows impact. Or you can say, I'm really glad you're here. I'm really glad you're here. That sentence carries quiet love. Sometimes we wait for big emotional moments to express love. Birthdays, weddings, emergencies. But love grows in ordinary days. In the kitchen, on the bus, in short voice messages, in small smiles. I want to tell you something personal. There was a time in my life when I avoided saying I love you because I was afraid it would make me dependent. I thought if I expressed love too clearly, I would need the other person too much. I confused love with weakness. But over time, I realized something important. Needing connection is not weakness. It is human design. We are not built to be alone all the time. Even if you are independent, even if you are strong, even if you are successful, you still need warmth. And saying I love you is one way to create warmth. Let's slow down again. Take a breath. Think of one person who changed your life in a small but meaningful way. Maybe a teacher, maybe a friend, maybe someone who believed in you when you didn't believe in yourself. Imagine saying to them, I just want you to know I love you and I'm grateful for you. Say it slowly in your mind. I just want you to know I love you and I'm grateful for you. Grateful is another important word. Grateful means thankful in a deep, emotional way. Repeat it. Grateful. When you combine love and gratitude, your sentence becomes powerful. And here is something beautiful. When you practice these sentences in English, you are not only learning vocabulary, you are preparing yourself for real conversations. Conversations that matter. You might think this is only about relationships, but it's also about identity. The kind of person you want to be. Do you want to be someone who hides affection, or someone who expresses it with calm confidence? You don't have to change your personality. You just have to give your feelings a voice. Maybe one day, years from now, someone will remember your words. They will remember that you said, "I love you," in a quiet moment. And that memory will stay with them. Words can echo for a long time. So why is saying "I love you" so hard? Because it requires vulnerability. Because it risks rejection. Because it challenges pride. Because maybe you didn't grow up hearing it. But also because it matters. And things that matter often feel heavy. But heavy does not mean impossible. It just means meaningful. As you continue learning English with me, I want you to remember this. Fluency is not only about speed, it is about depth. It is about being able to say what is true in your heart. Even if your voice shakes a little, even if your grammar is not perfect, if you can say, "I love you," with sincerity, you are already fluent in something more important than language. You are fluent in humanity. And maybe tonight, or tomorrow, or next week, you will find a small moment. Not dramatic, not perfect, just real. And you will say it. "I love you." Or maybe simply, "love you." And that will be enough. Before we end today, I want to stay with this feeling a little longer. Because sometimes after we talk about love in a gentle way, something quiet begins to move inside us. A memory, a regret, a desire, a face appears in our mind. Maybe there is someone you didn't say it to. Maybe there is someone you can't say it to anymore. If that's true, I want you to know something important. Love that was never spoken is not love that never existed. It still lived in your actions, in your thoughts, in your worry, in your care. But words have their own kind of life. There is a phrase in English, "I wish I had said it." Repeat that. I wish I had said it. This structure, "I wish I had," is used when we regret something in the past. I wish I had called her. I wish I had stayed longer. I wish I had said "I love you." It carries softness and sadness at the same time. Maybe you have your own sentence. I wish I had. Let that sentence come to you. And then, gently, I want you to add something new. I will say it next time. Repeat that. I will say it next time. Regret can teach us. It doesn't have to punish us. There was a time when someone very important to me was going through a difficult period. I knew they were struggling, but I didn't know what to say. So I stayed quiet. I told myself, they need space. I don't want to bother them. Weeks later, they told me. I felt very alone during that time. That sentence stayed with me. I felt very alone. Sometimes silence feels respectful, but sometimes silence feels like distance. Now, when someone I care about is struggling, I try to say something simple. I'm here. Repeat that. I'm here. 2 words, very short, very strong. You don't need a long speech. You don't need perfect advice. Sometimes love sounds like, I'm here. I care. You're not alone. You're not alone. Say that slowly. You're not alone. When you say I love you, you are also saying you're not alone. And maybe that is why it feels heavy. Because loneliness is one of the deepest human fears. We want to belong. We want to matter. We want to feel seen. There is another English expression I like: you matter to me. Repeat that. You matter to me. Matter in this sentence means to be important, to have value. You matter to me. Imagine hearing that from someone you respect. How would that feel? Warm, steady, safe. Sometimes we wait for other people to say these words first. We wait to be chosen. But what if you choose first? What if you become the kind of person who says, "You matter to me," without waiting for permission? That is emotional maturity. Maturity is not about age. It is about awareness. It is about understanding that expressing love does not reduce you. It expands you. Let me share something very honest. There were years when I focused so much on achievement work, goals, productivity, that emotional expression felt secondary. I thought, as long as I'm responsible, as long as I do the right things, that's enough. But one evening, after finishing a long day, I felt something strange. I had completed many tasks. I had answered many emails. I had been efficient. But I felt empty. Not because I lacked success, but because I lacked connection. I realized that being useful is not the same as being emotionally present. Useful is about function. Present is about relationship. When you say "I love you," you are choosing presence over productivity. In modern life, especially in busy cities like Ho Chi Minh City or Tokyo, people move fast. Work is demanding. Time feels limited. It becomes easy to assume that love is understood without being spoken. But fast lives still need slow words. Slow words like, "I appreciate you. I'm proud of you. I love you." "I'm proud of you" is another powerful sentence. Repeat it. I'm proud of you. Imagine saying that to your younger sibling, or to your child, or even to a friend who achieved something small but meaningful. Pride, in this sense, is not ego. It is recognition. When was the last time someone said, "I'm proud of you"? If it has been a long time, maybe you can be the one who says it to someone else. Love is not only romantic. Sometimes we connect. I love you only with relationships between partners. Maybe because of movies, maybe because of songs by artists like Ed Sheeran, where love sounds romantic and poetic. But love exists in friendships, in family, in mentorship, in community. You can tell a friend, "I love you, man," or "love you, my friend." In casual English, it can sound warm and natural. Tone changes everything. If you say it with pressure, it feels heavy. If you say it with ease, it feels real. There is also another truth we need to face gently. Sometimes the hardest person to say "I love you" to is yourself. Not in a narcissistic way, not in a proud way, but in a compassionate way. Maybe you have made mistakes. Maybe you have failed. Maybe you are not where you expected to be at this point in your life. And so, saying "I love you" to yourself feels dishonest. But love does not require perfection. In fact, love often grows in imperfection. There is a sentence I want you to try. I'm not perfect, but I'm still worthy of love. Repeat that slowly. I'm not perfect, but I'm still worthy of love. Worthy means deserving. You are worthy of love. Not when you become better, not when you earn more, not when you speak perfect English. Now, as you are, when you practice English with me, you might make mistakes. You might forget words. You might feel slow. But I don't want you to hide your voice because it's not perfect. The same is true in love. Don't hide your affection because it's not perfectly expressed. Sometimes a simple, slightly awkward, "I love you" is more powerful than a perfectly written message that is never sent. There is a quiet courage in emotional honesty. Courage is not always loud. It is not always dramatic. It is often very soft. It is the courage to send the message. The courage to say it at the end of the call. The courage to break a family pattern of silence. Maybe in your family, no one says "I love you." Maybe you can be the first. That can feel uncomfortable, but it can also change the emotional culture of your family. Culture is not only national, it is also personal. It is also family-based. You can create a small culture of warmth in your own circle. Start small. At the end of a conversation, instead of just saying "bye," you can say "take care, love you." Take care, love you. It flows naturally. Or you can send a message that says "just thinking of you." Just thinking of you. This sentence carries gentle affection. As we come closer to the end of our time together today, I want you to reflect quietly. Is there someone you have been emotionally distant from? Distance can be physical or emotional. Sometimes we live in the same house, but we feel far. Sometimes one sentence can reduce that distance. I miss you. Repeat that. I miss you. Miss, in this context, means you feel the absence of someone. I miss you. It is another form of love. And sometimes it is easier to say than "I love you." You don't have to choose the biggest sentence. Choose the most honest one. Language gives you many doors. Open one. Just one. And remember, when you speak from the heart, even simple English becomes powerful. You are not just memorizing phrases. You are shaping your emotional voice. And your emotional voice deserves to be heard. Maybe tonight, before you sleep, you will think about this conversation. Maybe you will replay a sentence in your mind. "I love you," or "you matter to me," or "I'm here." Let those words sit gently in your chest. And when the moment feels right, let them move outward. Not as a performance, not as a dramatic declaration, but as a quiet truth. Because in the end, saying "I love you" is not about being brave all the time. It is about being honest for a few seconds. And sometimes a few honest seconds can change the emotional direction of a relationship. Thank you for staying with me in this reflection. Thank you for practicing not only English, but also courage. Before we truly close, I want to leave you with one final image. Imagine it is late at night. The world is quiet. The lights are off. You are lying in bed, and your mind is still awake. Thoughts move slowly. Memories appear. Faces appear. In that quiet space, there is no audience, no pressure, no expectations. Only you and your heart. In that moment, ask yourself gently, who do I love? Let the names come naturally. Don't judge the list, don't analyze it. Just notice. And then ask, do they know? Not in theory. Not because they should understand, but because you have told them. If the answer is yes, that is beautiful. If the answer is not yet, that is an opportunity. There is a phrase in English I want you to remember. It's not too late. Repeat it slowly. It's not too late. As long as someone is still in your life, it's not too late. As long as you are still breathing, it's not too late to become someone who speaks love clearly. And even if someone is no longer here, it's not too late to honor them in your words, in your memory, in your actions. You can still say, I loved you. Love does not disappear just because time moves forward, and neither does your ability to express it. As you continue your journey with English, I hope you understand something deeply. Language is not just a tool for survival. It is a bridge. A bridge between you and another person. A bridge between your thoughts and your voice. A bridge between silence and connection. When you say, I love you, you are building that bridge. It might feel fragile at first, but with practice it becomes strong. So speak slowly. Speak honestly. Speak even when your voice feels a little uncertain. Because connection is always worth the risk of vulnerability. I'm grateful you spent this time with me. Truly. And wherever you are right now in your room, on a bus, walking down a quiet street, I hope you feel a little more aware. A little more open. A little more ready to let love be spoken. This is English with Thomas. I'm Thomas. Keep speaking, keep growing, and keep trusting yourself.